Ever been shot with one of these before? Yeah, it's a pipe pistol and it fucking hurts. And this is supposedly 200 years after civilization's unfortunate collapse. So you might be asking, where the fuck do the guns in Fallout even come from? So basically you just crawled out of whatever irradiated concrete coffin you called home. The world's a mess, obviously, but here's the thing. Everywhere you look, there are guns. And more importantly, ammo. So much damn ammo. Raiders are spraying it, settlers are hoarding it. Even some glorified houseflies seem to be guarding a crate of 5.56 ammo. So it begs the question, doesn't it? After 200 years of everything going to hell in a handbasket, shouldn't the Wasteland's armories be, well, bone dry? Today, we're cutting through the irradiated fog and figuring out where all this lead-slinging goodness actually comes from. Now, the obvious answer, pre-war stashes. Let's not overcomplicate things right out of the gate. The first and most obvious source is pre-war stashes. Before the big boom, America was a gun-loving nation. You've got a lot of freedom, to put it mildly. Military bases, police armories, dusty old gun stores, even folks' homes were overflowing with firearms. So when the bombs dropped, a lot of these places just became incredibly dangerous, incredibly dusty time capsule. You see it constantly. Military bunkers still sealed up, loaded with untouched crates of ammunition. Police stations, the armories locked but intact also, holding on to combat shotguns and service pistols for centuries. Even some of the civilian vaults meant to save people had a decent armory or two tucked away. Think about the National Guard training yard in Fallout 4. That place is basically a forgotten sporting goods store for the apocalypse. For the first few decades, and even now, 2 centuries later, cracking open these untouched or likely scavenged locations is a primary source of ammunition. These weren't just small caches either. Military depots could have held millions of rounds and thousands of weapons, often in sealed underground facilities that shrugged off the initial blasts better than anything above ground. But let's be real, 200 years is a very, very long time. Eventually, even the most dedicated hoarder's stash runs out. That's where the sheer desperate ingenuity of Wastelanders kicks in. Take the pipe weapons. You know them, you've probably used them, made from rusty scrap metal, old plumbing, and whatever else someone could hammer into shape. These are the true Wasteland originals. They're crude, they jam more often than not, but they work, you know? And they prove that folks aren't just finding guns, they're straight up making them. Every small settlement with a workbench shows you this DIY mentality. From the simplest pipe pistol looking like it's about to explode in your hand, to the slightly more sophisticated pipe bolt action rifles. I'm sorry, I got a cold, so it's really fucking difficult right now. These firearms are a testament to the fact that people can build from absolutely nothing. They're the literal foundation of self-defense in the Wasteland, ensuring that even the poorest souls can carry something that goes bang. Beyond simple pipe guns though, we see more sophisticated efforts. The handmade rifle clearly borrows from AK pattern designs, suggesting either blueprints survived or the concepts were reverse engineered. Same with some of the more elaborate custom-built firearms you encounter, like a robust .4 revolver found in the hands of more organized groups. This indicates a baseline level of engineering knowledge survived, or was relearned through trial and error. Wastelanders aren't just blindly replicating. They're innovating with the limited resources at hand. They understand basic ballistics, metallurgy, which is, you know, bending of metal and shit like that, and mechanics well enough to create functional, if primitive, firearms. And crucially, it's not just about building new guns, it's about maintaining the already existing ones. Parts get swapped, barrels get replaced, and worn mechanisms get a good whack with a fucking wrench. Some of you need to get that. Fucking subscribe or I'm gonna fucking wonk you with a fucking wrench. I know I keep saying the word fucking so much. A century-old combat shotgun might have been passed down through 50 different hands, each patching it up with scavenged components. This in turn extends the life of pre-war firearms far beyond what the original designers ever intended. The supply chain isn't just about finding stuff, it's about fixing and prolonging its misery. Every time you strip down a broken razor rifle, Every time you strip down a broken laser rifle for parts, you're part of this endless cycle of cannibalism and resurrection. It means a weapon made in 2077 can still be putting holes in raiders' heads in 2287, albeit with a few more dense and patched up parts. While Joe Schmo is busy making a pipe pistol in his shed, bigger, more organized factions are operating on a whole different level. These guys are the Wasteland's actual arms manufacturers and distributors. The Brotherhood of Steel, for example, aren't just collecting technology, they're maintaining it. They've got dedicated scribes and knights who spend days repairing, recharging, and probably even making components for their advanced energy weapons. Their fortified bases aren't just barracks, they're workshops and research labs, tirelessly restoring and even attempting to replicate pre-war technology. They control the flow of this high-end weaponry within their own ranks, ensuring their soldiers are packing the best, even if it means no one else gets any. Their whole mission is about preserving this technology, which by extension means they're its custodians and in a limited way its producers. They're the coolest thing the Wasteland has to quality control departments for plasma rifles. Then you've got the Institute. These guys are the undisputed kings of post-war manufacturing. They literally create living, breathing synths, and those synths need to be armed. It's a safe bet that they've got highly advanced production lines for laser and plasma weaponry, and probably even some more traditional firearms for the human agents and coursers. The underground facilities are basically full functional factories, powered by their own reactors, churning out pristine high-tech gear. They're not scavenging for parts, they're fabricating them from raw materials using technology that makes everyone else look like they're still in the Stone Age. Their weapons often look factory new, a direct reflection of their unparalleled technological might. They're a self-sufficient arms factory, arming their synth army with the best money can't buy. Even factions that seem less civilized than the Brotherhood of or the Institute, like the Gunners, show a surprising level of organization. Except for these lot. They don't just find assault rifles, they have hundreds of them, and enough ammo to make a super mutant blush. This points to established supply lines, maybe even rudimentary workshops or repair depots, all focused on keeping their forces armed to the teeth. They might not be building assault rifles from scratch, but they're clearly centralizing and distributing them efficiently, perhaps by securing vast, untouched military caches or by strong-arming other groups into donating their gear, if you know what I mean. Their military structure demands a consistent flow of weaponry, and they've clearly figured out how to make that happen. They're basically a major league redistributor, funneling weapons and ammo to their considerable fighting force. And don't forget the raiders. Sure, they're chaotic, but they're also master scavengers and opportunistic traders. They probably don't make much, but they are constantly getting their hands on weapons through force, theft, and desperate bartering. Fucking cheapskates. They're a huge messy redistribution network for anything they can loot. Their constant skirmishes also mean a steady supply of slightly used weaponry from their defeated enemies. They're the ultimate pragmatists, taking whatever works and tossing the rest, ensuring that no usable weapon stays out of circulation for too long. So what about ammo? This is the real head scratcher. Fusion cells, .308 rounds, 5.56mm, you trip over this stuff. While pre-war military caches might have held billions of rounds, 2 centuries of constant lead slinging should have emptied them out by now. I wish she'd emptied me out last night. Yeah, some games let us craft ammo, needing lead, gunpowder and other components. Fallout 4's ammo presses, for example, show that with enough raw materials like lead, steel and fertilizer for gunpowder, you can make bullets. But are Wastelanders actually mining enough lead and cooking up enough gunpowder on a massive scale to sustain the sheer volume we see? Probably not for most. It's a resource-intensive process and you need specific know-how or equipment. Small-scale local production might happen in the safer, more established settlement, but it's highly unlikely to be the primary source for the entire Wasteland. It's far more likely though a combination of extremely resilient pre-war stashes that just keep on giving, highly localized, small-scale production and the constant recycling of spent casing and salvage components. Bullets aren't just fired and forgotten, they're retrieved, reloaded and passed around, or at least that's what I like to think. Imagine a single brass casing being reloaded dozens of times over its lifespan. The brass is precious, the lead can be melted down, and even gunpowder might be salvaged from dart explosives. This circular economy of ammunition vastly extends its life beyond a single use. Plus, think about the sheer amount of military surplus that would have existed pre-war. ammo storage facilities would have been absolutely massive. These deeply buried or well-protected stashes could still be spitting out rounds even after centuries. And of course, there's the game logic factor that we have to consider. The game needs to give you enough ammo to, play. Without a consistent supply of bullets, combat would become an exercise in frustration rather than fun. My favorite game is The Last of Us Part 2, and let's be honest, sometimes, especially if you're playing on grounded mode, it does get a bit tough trying to find ammo. Developers are constantly balancing realism with making a game enjoyable, and ammo availability often leans heavily towards the latter. Ultimately, while Fallout builds a wonderfully believable post-apocalyptic world, there's always a degree of gameplay abstraction at play. If every gun and every bullet was truly a rare, painstaking find after 200 years, the game would be a very difficult and probably a lot less fun experience. Imagine spending hours traveling across the whole Commonwealth just trying to find 5 bullets for your pistol. That's not exactly a thrilling adventure. The relative abundance of weapons and ammunition, while sometimes pushing the boundaries of what's believable, serves the core gameplay loop of exploration, combat, and character progression. But that doesn't mean the developers just threw realism out the window. The existence of pipe guns, the advanced manufacturing of factions like the Institute, and the clear signs of widespread scavenging and repair all contribute to a surprisingly robust, if grim, arms economy. It's a system where rusted relics meet cobbled together monstrosities, where desperation sparks innovation, and where the echoes of the past constantly fuel the conflict of the present. The entire economy of destruction in Fallout is a complex web of decay, repurposing, and desperate production. So, next time you pick up a rusty pipe pistol or find a pristine laser rifle in a raider's hands, remember, it's not just loot, it's a testament to the indomitable human resilience, a nod to human ingenuity and the ever-present cold shadow of the Great War, which continues to supply the Wasteland with its grim tools of survival and destruction. This constant flow of weaponry isn't just a game mechanic, it's a fundamental part of the Fallout universe, shaping its societies, driving its conflicts, and defining the very nature of survival itself. It ensures that the Wasteland remains a dangerous but endlessly fascinating place. What do you reckon is the most baffling part of Fallout's endless arsenal? Let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it if you made it to the end, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.